Hello, everyone. We have a warm-up today asking us to find the relative max and min for the function below. Of course, we need to use our handy-dandy calculator, right? Now, as you're watching this on how to find the max and min, you're also keying it in if you're having trouble finding the max and min with your calculator. So key this in with me, guys, as we work through this if you're having trouble finding it, okay? So I want to go to my y equals, as always. I'm going to clear out the function that I have in here, and I'll type in the function that they gave me, which is x cubed plus 3x squared plus 1. All right. Then I'll go ahead and hit graph. And I get a nice graph. Right? Now, I want to find the maximum and minimum, but I notice if I try to scroll over to the point, it's not good. I don't get a precise value. Or my calculator can just go away completely. There it is. So what I need to do what I want to do now, and even face-to-facers as you're watching this, if you had an error, stay with me, okay? So what I want to do now is I'll go to this calculate button to calculate the relative max. And in order to get up there, notice calculate is in blue. Every time I want to get to blue keys, I'm going to hit the second key. So I'll hit second, and then I'll hit trace, which takes me to the calculate screen. I'm trying to find a maximum first. So I'll scroll down to 4. You can hit 4 on your keypad. Either or works. And instantly you'll notice it'll take me back to the graph, and it says left bound. This is where it's easy, but things can get tricky because you got to flag this just right. You need to be at the left of your maximum point, okay? So you're going to use the arrow keys. And guys who are face-to-face, just scroll with me on the function and move your cursor over. Wait, where is my cursor at? Did it already get moved over? Because I don't even see it. Let's see if Miss Bennett can find her cursor. It's on the left. Okay, so bring it back. All right, so move your cursor. You see the cursor? Move it over, and you want it all the way on the left side. So do you see how my cursor is at the left of the maximum? Okay, so I've moved it to the left. I hit enter. It's going to flag the left side of the maximum. It'll say right bound. I want to move my cursor over to the right. And if you lose your cursor like Miss Bennett just did, just follow where the cursor is at on the x-axis. Like you see, I know I'm at the negative side because it tells me the number right here as I move it. So I just need to be on the right side of this boundary, and I'll press enter. It's going to flag the right side. So notice the left and the right is flagged. I'm telling the calculator to find a maximum between this area on the function. So now it says guess. It wants me to go as close as possible to that point. And I will. And then I'll just hit enter. Once I do that, it's going to give me a point. Okay? I know that my maximum is at -2, 5. -2, 5. Now I'll go through the same steps to find my minimum, okay? So I'll hit second, calculate, and I'm going to go down now. Instead of maximum, I just go to minimum. And it does the same thing. It takes me back to the graph, and it's saying left bound. So I just scroll my cursor to the left side of the minimum value, and I press enter. Then it'll say right bound. So I'll scroll my cursor to the right side. I will press enter as well. And then it'll say take a guess. Well, the guess is right here. Okay. And then I get my point. That is just really bizarre, that point. Okay. So 8 point, what is it? It was 0.00. So it's 0. Okay. 0, 1. 0, 1. All right. It's saying 8.44 e to the negative. That tells me that it's a lot of zeros. Okay. It's 7 zeros in front of that. So this is 0, 1. Now, guys, the next step we're going to talk about is intervals. Okay, we're going to talk about our intervals from increase to decrease. And we talked about turning points yesterday. Now we're going to talk about how we write an interval that's increasing and an interval that's decreasing. That's where we stop. So if I look at this, I'm going to pause this for a second. All right, guys, if we talk about an interval where this function is increasing, and remember I told you to think about an interval where this is increasing. I told you to think about a roller coaster, okay? I get on the roller coaster, and I'm going up the hill. That's the point where my function is increasing while I'm riding up the hill, right? It stops increasing at the moment that I stop at the top of the hill, right? It's no longer increasing. So if I got to write an interval of increase, while this function is increased, this interval starts down at negative infinity, and it goes all the way up until I hit my maximum point, which is at -2. So an increasing interval would be from negative infinity to -2. Can you tell me another interval of increase? When is this function increasing again? It happens again. I'm going up a hill again. Yes. And be careful. We're going to use our x values. Okay, but you're absolutely right. Hey, when I go downhill and then I hit my minimum point, right? I'm now increasing again. I'm going uphill again. So from 0 to infinity, I'm increasing again. So I got another interval of increase from 0 to infinity. And I'm looking at Matthew, and Matthew's like, Miss Bennett, why are you not using brackets? Right? Why aren't you including the maximum and min point? I know that's what you were thinking. Why don't I use brackets, guys? Why do I use parentheses when I hit these max points and min points? Why not brackets? Why not include them in the interval? Yes. Right, and I mean, honestly, think about it. When you ride that roller coaster, and that's, they clanky, that's where all the anxiety happens. And then what happens when you get at the top? Before you go down, what do they do? It stops. You're not increasing, right? You're not decreasing. You're kind of at a stop, a halt, right? So your maxes and mins aren't included in those intervals from increase to decrease, okay? That's why they're in parentheses, because those aren't points where you're increasing or decreasing. Now, if I'm talking about the decreasing interval, okay, so an interval of decrease. Interval that we're decreasing. What interval would I be decreasing? I go up the hill, I stop, and then what happens? go all the way down. Okay? So where this function is decreasing, its interval that is decreasing would be from -2 to 0. From my max point to my midpoint. Okay? -2 to 0. How many of you are taking calculus one day? I think we talked about you'll use this in calculus. The rest of you are like, oh no, not I. Okay. So with that being said, that should help you a lot with your homework.